It's, I think we had 7 games before this, and every game it was hard to not think about this game. So I'm glad we're here, we're over with it, and we can move on. But I mean, it just shows today, man. Just the energy when I walked on the field, man, smelling that grass, man, it just went through my veins. I just felt like I was about to play a game because that grass smelled very familiar.
What has this whole week been like leading up to tonight's game?
And them mind bothering, man. Honestly, I'm big on preparation. And I know this was a short week. Having college guys prepare after we just played a tough battle game on Saturday down in Durham and a long bus ride, and then we come back and we only have 2 days of preparation, and just throughout the week, I just didn't feel like we had the best week of practice. It just expectations for this team is very high, and our standard we have is high as well too. And every day we go out on the field, we always try to maintain that standard. But I just didn't feel we had the best week of practice, and it kind of showed today. But it was just, it was great to still come out with a win.
More like when Michael after the game and get carried off your deal later.
Man, that moment, at the middle of the field with Michael, man, I truly look up to him. He's always been a big bro to me. Got a great relationship. I admire him growing up. Just, all his accolades and what he was able to do. And then when he came here, man, it was just like a dream come true to be able to play with a quarterback like him. It was just, his record doesn't show to the amount that he does, man. They played a hard-fought game today. They gave us a tough battle. And I'm just proud of, man, both of us, man. We're in a position where we're inspiring and changing, young men's lives at HBCU, man. It don't get no better than that. So, the wins and losses, we all want to win. We put so much work into winning, but just that moment when you see your brother, man, you see how great he's doing, man. And I just, I can't say I feel bad for him, but I just hope that it translates to wins for him because he deserved it.
What was your sense to the team leading up to this week, and how did you like the response?
Our primary message is honesty, man. Keep the main thing the main thing. I feel like we allowed the lights and the big stage to kind of get us out of our game and take our focus off a little bit. The first half, we wasn't ourselves. Obviously, second half, we came out. We were stopped on that first drive. When, I always preach when we get the ball coming out of the second half, we got to score. We did score. So, just really just keeping the main thing, and just not allowing this big atmosphere to be too big for us.
Cade Manning was out for a little bit in first and second half. When he came back in the fourth quarter or round or your second half, the offense immediately began. Yeah. That's a big touchdown pass. Seemed like your offense got them.
Yeah. I mean, it was unfortunate, man. KB's been dealing with a few injuries, multiple injuries. And, he's a tough kid, man, hard fought, battle kid. He gives us a chance to win every time he's out in the field. So he came in the locker room, he was dealing with some things that were bothering him pretty bad. So it was good to get him to, push through it. I asked him, I was like, KB, are you good? He was like, nah, coach, I'm not good. But, I felt this last week as well, too. So it just shows the character, how hard he wants to win, man. And, that dude is different, man. It was great to get him back to come out, put some plays up there and make some big ones ahead.
Why did you choose the HBCU to start your coaching career?
And that was the opportunity to present myself, honestly. For me, growing up, my parents or my dad went to HBCU, I to the Gold Copeland, and just when I was playing, I never, during that time, I guess I was too big of a player to, get looks from HBCUs or for me to look at HBCUs. So this opportunity came, and for me, I can't really pass this opportunity up for me to want to inspire and change young kids' lives. I had to take this opportunity.
So you're now the winningest Delaware State team in 13 years. What does that mean to you, and how does that bode well for the next big games you have the next week?
Man, it's an honor, but we still haven't done anything yet, man. Our goal is, it still remains the same. We'll continue to put the work in. It just really contests and it matters to, the work these guys are, putting in every day on a daily basis. I challenge these guys every time, it's different. And I say this culture is different because, they're embracing it, right? They're accepting the standards and, they're pushing to the limit, right? And they're challenging themselves and they're coming together. They're trusting the process and they're believing it. So it's an honor, but, we still haven't did anything. We got 3 more conference games and, our goal is to go undefeated and hopefully we can make it to, our destination.
With you guys being former teammates, what's something that you saw about Coach Vick as a person that you still saw on that sideline stat?
Always calm, collected, man, and the moment's never too big for him. Like I said, the wins and losses, 1-7 before like 1-8 now. It doesn't amount to the grit he does for that university and just inspiring these young guys' lives. So, you know, like I said, man, I hope it translates over for him for the victories. Obviously not tonight. I didn't want him to get a win, but you know, man, he'll keep doing a great job. He's a great mentor. You know, he inspired young man.
But do you feel like thing changed the way that people view other cultures and other communities view HBCU football?
I mean, you seen it, man. Philadelphia showed up. I mean, wherever people was from, whether it was Virginia, Delaware, Philadelphia, New York, Baltimore, like, I mean, wherever people came from today, man, you seen it. You know, they showed up and showed out. And that was a great turnout, man. That's what the coach was for, is meant for. We came here, you know, I had the opportunity to reach out to Jeffrey Dory, Frank, you know, Tony Alder, Tony Tucker, Temesius Carmen. You know, we had so many variables that was included into this game, and it wouldn't have been able to be possible if everybody had played their part. Yeah, I initiated it, but it still had to go through so many hoops for us to make this happen today. So it just shows, man, you know, hopefully more players, retired players that could give the position and give the opportunity to coach, because I feel like we got a great insight on the game that you played, and we know what it's like to go out there and go to battle.
Hey, Shannon, in your wildest dreams, you had so many great moments as a player, but you never imagined it. One day you'd be facing how you did you live there caught.
I could have never, I would have never envisioned this. I could have never imagined it. I could have never predicted it. It just showed you how well God works, man. You know, God is a great person that puts things into aspect. You know, life. You know, all our lives, and you know, I say this all the time to our players, man. It's written. You know, regardless of what we got, the story's written. We just got to go out there and do our work, man. That's God's work.
You want to build on that, you know, you were Fuller as a figure in Philly. You know, how important was this game that it was highlighted around your team versus you? You know, going into this game, it feels like you and Vic were the highlight. However,
How important was it that this team was highlighted?
I mean, I've said it all week, man. It's bigger than me and Michael Vick. I always still we're the icons and it's the HBC legendary game, but it's bigger than us, man. We're just in a position where we're called to do what we're calling right now. We're doing our calling. So, like I said, I just really hope it changed the dynamic of, you know, players that played at a high level. I mean, it's not ordinary player, original. You know, like you got to be elite in a certain way. And I mean, it just shows transition right from a player, because every person that played at a high level can't necessarily coach at a high level. So, I mean, I just really hope people would take a second look at, you know, people that play or athletes to play, and just say, you know what, man, we probably should give them a chance, because what's different from somebody that's never coached and you give him an opportunity from somebody that's played and don't get the opportunity. So that's kind of where I want to see it at, man. I think a lot of more guys, when they retire, they need to, you know, get into coaching, because, you know, man, just to be able to have your own, you know, university organization and be ran, like everything, when you look at it from a perspective of, I got my finger on it. And I just think it's a cool thing, man, to be able to be in that position. I tell my players all the time, man, I wish you guys would get an opportunity to see what it feels like to be a head coach. A lot of stress, though. I got a few gray areas. It's fun, too.
Why should make that transition, though? I mean, a sport like, for example, Ted Williams, a great player, wasn't a great manager. And what's the difficulty with the adjustment you have to make as a player to be a coach?
Sure, great question. You know, I think for me, man, is, you know, I've been coached by some greats. You know, if you look at, you know, Andy Reid all the time, it was like a second father figure to me. Sean McVay, you know, Coach Prime as well too. That, you know, they just inspire me, man. They mentor me. And not only that, man. It's like when I played all these years, the coaches I respected the most are the coaches that I could relate to, that they understood me. You know, I came from LA. You know, I came from rough areas. You know, and I had a lot of distractions in my career, off the field, temptations, entourages. You know what I'm saying? But in order for a coach, or in order for a player to respect the coach, that coach got to understand that young man. And I just feel like all I did was put bits and pieces together, you know, from all the coaches that I respected, that I played for. And now this is what you get from Coach Jack.
Do you want to make this a yearly event?
HBCU football, right? And I love how you highlight, you talk about the opportunities and that the stage is bigger and what it really should be when it comes to media exposure. Right. And you talk about the culture of who stepped on, going from Little Oregon and being at an HBCU, just the culture. And I think there's a misnarrative about the culture of an HBCU. Can you share your perspective on what that means to you?
And the culture was huge, man. I think since day one that it's been a culture shock. And that was my challenge to these young men. You know, just looking back 2 years in a row, they was 1-11. They was in some tough games last year. And you know, 6 games, they was up in the fourth quarter, and they end up losing those games. So when you look at that type of, you know, play, you break it down as a player that played at a high level, it's like it's either your conditioning, you undisciplined. I mean, it's certain things. So it was easy for me to identify and know this what you guys need to change. This what you guys need to address. And for me, getting the right players in, right, being able to embrace the culture, embrace the standard. No one's exempt, regardless of how high the standard is. Everybody got to be on that page, right? And for me, I just kind of it was like I just gave them the rules, and this is my expectations. And to a man, everybody has to be held to that standard way. Like as a lady, you see them embracing it. Early on, it was difficult. Discipline was a big factor. Penalties was a big factor. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Like we were shooting ourselves in the foot. Like if you go back and watch our games, as a lazy, you seen these guys are cleaned up, and it's still a challenge, man. Every day it's still a challenge with some of these village now because they knuckleheads. They like me.
You want to make this a yearly event, have this game here at Lincoln Financial Field every year?
I mean, hopefully, I feel like, and even talking to Mike Vick, when my initiating me kind of started, I feel like some way, somehow, I should always kind of be front runner. But even though we switch, because he'll probably be the home team, but and I'm not even big on getting credit because at the end of the day, God, He'll always reward people when they do well. And for me, I definitely do hope we continue to come back here, and play in a great environment like this, man. It could have never. It was crazy, man. Because leading up to, I'm like, about the rain. People ain't gonna want to come sit in the rain. And God bless us, man. It was a good game, man.
Coach, throughout your football career, I know you coach, you've played a ton, you've had amazing moments. Where does this rank in terms of those moments, in terms of those games and bright lights for you?
Yeah, it's pretty up there. To be able to coach, I just think my culture, man, and my energy is really, kind of rubbing off on these young men. All these dudes see me play. When they found out I was going to be a coach here, a lot of these guys were going to get in the portal. Some came back, some ended up leaving. But, man, just the impact that you see in these guys' eyes when they're embracing the coaching and the standard is just like, for me, it feels like all the information I got over all those years, like I would be selfish not to pour it back into these young men that they help change their life. So, for me, it's fulfilling. And I still want y'all to understand it is a challenge. Like no one's perfect, right? You gotta, some of these young men obviously could be at a bigger university or bigger places, but it's challenging because their mental or they're coming from places where they don't have the support, financially. It's just a lot of variables that play a part. And for me, I just want to uplift. I'm always about uplifting and just passing down knowledge to them.
Aside from winning and being carried in the air celebrating, was there a moment today where you realized, yeah, this is the reason why I came to an HBCU to coach?
I really just really seeing the impact that you have over a community. As a culture shock, you talk about a culture change, like it's implementing a lot of young men's lives. Like one of my players before the game, Marquise Gillis, told me, he was like, Coach, and it's bigger than everybody involved. Like he said, man, this is like my kids. Like it's gonna go down, man. This is the first time in history 2 players of the magnitude of me and Michael Vick, who were former teammates, to play at this, for this organization, to play versus each other in their first year of coaching. So then history writes itself. I told my players, man, write history how you want to be written. Tonight we wrote history.
Slab first. When you talk about brought up in the window out there with Slab first there. Miami, Washington, man, Marquise Bass, Dave Jones, let's talk about number 2, Russia. She's talking about the offense and the operations, what piece of the middle and down.
I think the slide first is the mentality. A lot of these offenses have names, the West Coast offense, all these terminology you have, right? Slide first, just with like it was a fast pace. We attack the ball, we get the defense off guard. It's like multiple variables in one play, like it's pass, run, option, quarterback current. Like it's just a lot of different plays that you usually normally don't have. And it's a lot because your quarterback got to make a read for certain players in the box or he's not in the box. Like he has to adjust and make that adjust on a go. So, you've got to have the intelligent quarterback to do that. And the freedom we're allowing our players to have is second to none. So it's the trust we have in our players.
What's the trash talk boo be like? You got the victory over there.
Oh, man, I got a coach ready to go, man. What my answer is? It's coming out. I got up at, it ain't even really Vic. It's his brother, man. Marcus posted something a long time ago. Said they was going to beat us by 70. I couldn't wait. I was videoing this. I ain't no reactor, but I got to react to this one.
Last question for Coach.
Mike said that the hardest thing for him, he spent his whole career being able to do something. he can, as a coach, he better now though. So he just
Yeah, it definitely challenge. It's definitely challenging. It's tough. I get riled over for these games, and it's crazy 'cause I didn't even think like coaching. I'm like, all right, it's just gonna be another day. Man, the day of the game, well, I'll be antsy. I'll be like Jerry, like I'm finna go play a game, and I'm like, man, I look up like, man, I can't even go like impact the game. But I mean, from a mental aspect, you can't. You just can't do it from a physical aspect. And I tell my players all the time, I say, boy, y'all look, y'all wasn't on the field with y'all, man, because I would have, boy, HBCU would have had a problem if I went to HBC. And it's no disrespect to the game because I respect it at a high level, but I just be looking at some and I'm like, man, boy, y'all couldn't hold my jock strap. Appreciate y'all coming out though, man.